This is the 5-minute CMA for this house on Oneida Street in East Park Hill. There are two scenarios being entertained here. Both involve expanding the house. One I'm going to call Plan A, which is what I will deal with here. Plan B is another scenario altogether where we would dig out the basement and make a considerably larger house, but that's not what we're talking about in this analysis. This analysis does expand the house from its present square footage, which is 1134 by 586 square feet, for a total of 1720 square feet. Plus a garage that we would put on the back of the lot here. Let's do a little bit of math. If we could sell 1720 square feet for 500,000, we would be selling at 291 square feet. $291 per square foot. So in a minute here, we'll look at some comps and see how likely that is. If we could do just a little better and sell at $300 per square foot, then we'd be selling at 516. Let's take a look at our own profit analysis. This is a fix and flip. So before selling at 500,000, we have these costs: the purchase at 275, repairs at what I'm calling 100 at this point. Our selling costs are 4% of our contract price, and we've got hard money finance costs and other costs such as utilities and holding costs. And we end up here with a profit of about 84,000, which I consider acceptable and certainly worth the risks of going forward. So again, now let's look at the comps. This is a big part of North Denver called Park Hill. I think the most relevant part of this Park Hill map is this eastern portion, and our subject property is going to be right around here at 29th and Oneida. Now I've marked off a few comps here for two sets of comps for two different reasons. First, I'm going to look at recent rehabs. This one on Poplar Street is only about a block or two from the subject property. It sold at 435 very recently, a couple months ago, which comes to a total of 248 per total square feet. Again, to remind you, we're trying to get at least 291 per total square feet, and as you can see in this property, it's very nicely done in style. It's the same sort of ranch that we're working on, and it's what looks to be a first-rate rehab. Total square feet 1750, very close to the 1720 that we would end up with. Let's look at a few others in what I'm calling, what I have chosen for the same reason. They are rehabs. So this one, I've already looked ahead, is not really sold. It's under contract. I'm sorry, it is active at 569. They're trying to get 569. It too is a very nice looking rehab. Not an owner-occupant situation, but a brand new renovation, nicely staged. And they're shooting for 569, which comes to $293 per square foot, which is what we're trying to get. So this one I would call encouraging. Now we have a few others that I've marked off here. This one on Niagara Street, under contract, very similar square footage, 1746 to our 1720. This one per total square feet 249. So that is somewhat discouraging, but it is not a brand new rehab. I believe it's a lived-in situation. Let's check the notes. Charming, spacious, and move-in ready. No, they're not saying that it's a recent rehab. I don't believe it is. What else have we got? This one that I have chosen, which is clearly not a recent rehab, 1,400 square feet, sold for 400,000 or 284 per finished square feet. Well, if they can get 284, I'd say it's encouraging to our expectation or hope to get 291. This is in good shape, but not a brand new rehab, and clearly somewhat dated in some ways. Let's look at one more comp here. I've chosen this one up here at 3000 Monaco Parkway. First of all, Monaco Parkway is just a little bit of a busy street and not everybody's cup of tea. 1783 square feet, again, quite similar to what we're going to end up with. Priced at $515 and under contract. We don't know at what price exactly they're under contract, but probably something reasonably close to $515, which amounts to price per total square feet of $288. Now, I would suggest, with all due respect, this is a house that is less desirable than many in the neighborhood. Clearly not a recent rehab. It's in decent condition, but somewhat dated in terms of the oak cabinets and such. And if you ask me, maybe it lacks curb appeal compared to many of the more traditional designed Park Hill ranches that we would have in our property. So those are the comps, and in my next video I will come up with what I consider to be a reasonable expectation for the sale price of our subject property on Oneida Street. Well, here we are with the product of our analysis of the Oneida Street rehab home with these 6 comps surrounding the subject property on Oneida Street. I believe I tossed in maybe one more since the discussion of specific comps in the last preceding part of this video. Specifically, I think it's this one on 24th Avenue, which sold for $455 for a total square foot price of just over $300 a square foot. It is not a recent rehab, and the simple point being that if they can get $455, what's our house worth? Well, in light of that and everything else, I come up based on total square feet only with a price of $493,193. But as a brand new rehab, the subject property in this case will be in better shape than at least some of these comps. And so I'm gonna say that we are comfortably into the $500,000 range without specifying a specific price beyond that.